Welcome to Excel 2010 Advanced Filtering. I'm Trainer Lori. Why use advanced filtering? Well, clearly you want to hide your data, so you only show the data you care about, and you can answer all kinds of questions, but we're going to get into some really advanced features, including wildcards, plus understand the AND versus O. You'll find the regular filter, it used to be called autofilter, now it's just called filter, under data filter. And when you do that, you get the drop downs, and you probably have all used that because that's the most common filter that there is. But we're going to get into a little bit more on this one before we go into the advanced filter. For example, I can use my check boxes to show or hide multiple options. If it's dates, I can use the date filters, and there's some great easy ones in there, for example, before or after, next week, so you can easily find the dates that you're looking for. But also, you can use the check boxes and now the plus sign options to find specific dates. For example, in 2011 I want to expand it, so I use the plus sign, and now I'll see all the months, and I deselect the entire year 2011 and show just April. And now that I have April, I can see all the individual dates. Again, I can deselect April and then just choose the dates that I care about. There's also text filters, and when you choose that, it's you don't have to make the right decision here. Don't worry if you choose the wrong one because it's completely forgiving. You can change it right in the drop down. So it opens up custom autofilter and it chooses based on what you had already selected. So let's say that I'm looking for any member of the corporate staff. So I would want to say equals corporate staff. I would type in there equals and then corporate staff. Problem is, in my database, it's not a very clean database, and as a result I have the word corporate spelled out, and I also have corp dot, and I have corp without a dot. So how could I find that? That's when we use wildcards. A wildcard represents a character. A question mark represents a single character missing, and a star represents any series of characters. So I could either use corp question mark staff, which would find the corp without the dot and with the dot, or I could say corp star staff, and that would find all the options. So I would simply type in which I want using those wildcards. We also have an and or option. So what does that mean? Here is a Venn diagram explaining what and or looks like. And means that it must be the intersection of these two circles. In other words, let's say I want all corporate staff or all sales. Well, if I say and, they must be both. For example, let's say I want an animal that has 2 legs and I want one that can fly. If I say and, that means they have to have 2 legs and fly, like a duck. And so they would only fit into that category. So and actually narrows the search. Now in the larger circles, if I show or, then I will see both, all corporate staff and all sales. So what is filtered? If you look over on the left side, the numbers are missing, plus the one that is showing is filtered because it has a color. So you can see that it's filtered. And so then I look across my field names and I see that one has a filter symbol next to the arrow, the drop down arrow. And so that tells me this one is the one that's being filtered. If I want to remove the filter, I can simply click clear. And if I want to show Berlin City again, then I can just reapply it. So you have some options right on the toolbar. You can also filter by color now in 2010. This is new. So if you highlight information because you're going through and choosing information on a onesie twosie level, you can then go into filter and filter by color. That will only show up, of course, if you have colors. And so then everything else is hidden. Remember, filtering simply hides everything else, and you can see over here that there are hidden records. If you have more colors, then you get to choose which colors you want to filter by. All right, now we're going to get into the advanced filtering. There's 3 reasons to get into advanced filtering. One is to establish ongoing criteria, including comparison operators. The second is to copy and paste filtered records, because if you were to copy and paste a filtered record, everything shows, not just the hidden, not just the ones that aren't hidden. And so we're going to show you how to just show the ones that are not hidden. And then also to create a unique records list. I want to see how many customers or which states are we involved in instead of all the states many, many times. The first thing you want to do to create an advanced filter is to copy the header. So copy and duplicate the header. So you copy the header and put it above the original header, and then put a few blank rows in there. One row, at least one row, will be for criteria, but you need a blank row between your criteria and the data. So put in several blank rows here because you might need multiple rows for criteria, and I'll explain that later. And the criteria is what you're going to search by. Then we go to Data, Advanced, Filter, and this dialog box opens. The first question is, do you want to filter the list in place? Yes, I want all the data to stay where it is. I just want to hide the things that aren't my criteria. And then it asks, what's the list range? If you named this database, if you went up to the name box and named your this list database, it would automatically find it and highlight it. But you want to make sure that it is selected. You only have to do this once if you're going to use this list over and over again. Then it asks, what's your criteria range? Well, that is where your criteria is and the header row above it. So because I have a whole row, the entire database row, it would start with A1 and finish at K2. You may need to expand that, and I'll show you why later. Nothing but data, just the data that you seek based on that criteria. So everything else is hidden. Hit clear and it will show all the data again. So this is a really good tool if you need to change this all the time and you don't want to be using that drop down and digging around, because Yoshi would be at the very bottom of the list and I'd have to draw. It might be easier just to write it in. So this is a great tool for doing constant searches, always looking for something different within your database. You can use wildcards in here. The star would find, in this case, MA star would find everybody that starts with MA. You can also use a question mark. Another good use for that would be to find a missing number. You can also use comparison operators. For example, in this case, I want to find all sales greater than 500,000. So I can use greater than, less than, before, as in a date, and greater than or equal to. And this means not sales, anything except sales. You can also use the and or. It just looks a little bit different here. In this case, this is an and operation. That means it will only find those that are both SOM, starts with SOM, and in the position of sales, some sort of sales position. However, if I want or, in other words, I want everybody that starts with SOM, and I want to also see everybody who starts with sales, then I must put it on a second line. When I put it on a second line, I must increase the criteria range. I mentioned this earlier, so this K2 would have to then change to K3. Another option I mentioned is that you can copy your filtered records. So you can put it to another location and only see the records that are filtered. Remember, when you're using autofilter and you copy and paste, you'll see all your records. But this way you'll only see the ones that are filtered. And then to create that unique records list, in this case I want to copy it to another location, and I don't put in a criteria range now, and I check the unique records only. And now this list that shows Germany multiple times and Mexico multiple times will show me one of each. It is a unique records list. In other words, I only see each one once. That's all for this time. See you next time. Thank you.